Today we will summarize the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Chapter 1. The book begins with the author, Robert Kiyosaki, introducing his two dads. His real dad, referred to as Poor Dad, was highly educated and held a stable job as a government employee. In contrast, his friend's dad, referred to as Rich Dad, did not have a high level of education but was a successful entrepreneur and investor. Kiyosaki explains how both dads had different perspectives on money and how he learned valuable lessons from both of them. Poor Dad believed in the traditional method of getting a good education, finding a secure job, and working hard for a salary. In contrast, Rich Dad believed in taking risks, building businesses, and investing in assets that generate cash flow. The author emphasizes that financial education is more important than a high level of academic education. He also introduces the concept of the cash flow quadrant, where people can be classified as employees, self-employed, business owners, or investors. Kiyosaki argues that to become financially successful, one must strive to be on the business owner or investor side of the quadrant. Overall, Chapter 1 sets the stage for the book's main themes, including the importance of financial education, the difference between working for money and having money work for you, and the different mindset required for financial success. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is titled The Rich Don't Work for Money. In this chapter, Kiyosaki discusses the importance of financial education and how it differs from traditional education. He also introduces his concept of the cash flow pattern and explains how understanding this pattern is critical to achieving financial freedom. Kiyosaki begins by describing his experience working for his rich dad and how he learned the value of financial education from him. His rich dad taught him that the wealthy don't work for money. Instead, they make money work for them. The author then highlights the difference between financial education and traditional education. He argues that traditional education teaches people to work for money and focus on job security, whereas financial education teaches people how to make money work for them and how to create financial freedom. Kiyosaki introduces the concept of the cash flow pattern and explains that it is the way money flows in and out of a person's life. He describes the four main components of the cash flow pattern: income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. The author explains that most people focus on increasing their income to improve their financial situation. However, he argues that the key to financial freedom is to focus on acquiring assets that generate passive income, rather than relying solely on earned income. Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. He defines assets as things that put money in your pocket, such as rental properties or stocks, while liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket, such as credit card debt or car payments. In conclusion, Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad emphasizes the importance of financial education and the need to focus on building assets that generate passive income rather than relying solely on earned income. Kiyosaki's concept of the cash flow pattern provides a useful framework for understanding how money flows in and out of our lives and how we can take control of our financial future. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is titled Why Teach Financial Literacy. In this chapter, the author Robert Kiyosaki highlights the importance of financial education, which he believes is lacking in traditional education systems. He uses his own personal story to illustrate how he learned about financial literacy from his two dads, his biological father, Poor Dad, and his best friend's father, Rich Dad. Kiyosaki explains that his poor dad, a highly educated man with a Ph.D., had a mindset of working hard for money and relying on his job for financial security. His rich dad, on the other hand, was a self-made millionaire who emphasized the importance of financial education and investing in assets that generate passive income. Through his experiences with both dads, Kiyosaki realized that traditional education teaches individuals to work for money, whereas financial education teaches individuals to make money work for them. He encourages readers to expand their financial education beyond traditional schooling and to seek out resources such as books, seminars, and mentors. In this chapter, Kiyosaki also debunks the myth that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. He explains that the rich use their financial education and knowledge to make smart investment decisions and grow their wealth, while the poor remain financially illiterate and struggle to make ends meet. He argues that anyone can become financially literate and build wealth if they are willing to invest in their financial education and take calculated risks. Overall, Chapter 3 emphasizes the importance of financial literacy and highlights how it can make a significant impact on an individual's financial well-being. Chapter 4 Chapter 4 of Rich Dad Poor Dad begins with a discussion about the importance of education and how the author, Robert Kiyosaki, was raised to value academic education above all else. He explains that while academic education is important, it is not the only type of education that is necessary to achieve financial success. Kiyosaki explains that there are two types of education: academic education and financial education. He argues that financial education is more important than academic education when it comes to achieving financial success. Kiyosaki goes on to describe his two fathers, his real father Poor Dad and his best friend's father Rich Dad, and how they differed in their approaches to education. His poor dad had a PhD in education and believed in the traditional approach to education, while his rich dad had never finished high school but had a wealth of knowledge about money and investing. Kiyosaki argues that his rich dad's financial education was what led him to become successful, not his academic education. Kiyosaki also explains that financial education is not just about learning how to invest or manage money, but also about understanding the mindset and behavior of wealthy people. He suggests that people should surround themselves with successful and financially literate individuals in order to learn from them and adopt their mindset. Overall, Chapter 4 emphasizes the importance of financial education and challenges the idea that academic education is the only path to success. Chapter 5 Chapter 5 of Rich Dad Poor Dad begins with a discussion about fear and how it can hold us back from achieving financial success. Kiyosaki points out that many people are so afraid of losing money that they never take the risks necessary to become wealthy. He believes that it is important to overcome this fear and take calculated risks in order to achieve financial freedom. Kiyosaki then goes on to discuss the importance of financial literacy. He believes that the education system fails to teach people about money, which is why so many people struggle financially. He encourages readers to educate themselves about money, investing, and business, and to seek out mentors who can help guide them along the way. In this chapter, Kiyosaki also introduces the concept of cash flow. He explains that cash flow is the money that comes in and goes out of your pocket each month. He encourages readers to focus on increasing their monthly cash flow, rather than accumulating assets that do not generate income. He believes that by focusing on cash flow, people can become financially free and independent. Chapter 6 Chapter 6 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is titled Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. In this chapter, author Robert Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of acquiring financial education rather than relying solely on a traditional education. He recounts how his rich dad taught him and his friend, Mike, financial literacy through unconventional means such as playing Monopoly, using real estate as an example, and working for free in his stores to gain practical experience. Kiyosaki contrasts this with his poor dad's emphasis on traditional education and the need for a high-paying job to achieve financial security. Kiyosaki also highlights the importance of taking risks and making mistakes in the pursuit of financial success. He suggests that fear of failure and a reluctance to take risks often hold people back from achieving their financial goals. He encourages readers to learn from their mistakes and use them as opportunities to gain new knowledge and experiences. The chapter also discusses the concept of job security and the idea that working for someone else provides a false sense of security. Kiyosaki suggests that job security is largely an illusion and that true financial security comes from having control over one's own financial future through owning assets and acquiring financial education. Overall, Chapter 6 emphasizes the importance of financial education, practical experience, and taking risks in the pursuit of financial success. It challenges traditional notions of job security and highlights the importance of thinking outside the box when it comes to building wealth. Chapter 6. Chapter 7 of Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is titled Overcoming Obstacles. In this chapter, Kiyosaki explains that one of the key differences between his rich dad and his poor dad is that his rich dad believed in using obstacles as opportunities, while his poor dad saw them as obstacles to his success. He goes on to explain that most people give up when faced with obstacles, but successful people find a way to overcome them. Kiyosaki shares a story about a woman named Kim who was struggling to make ends meet and was about to lose her house. Kim's initial reaction was to give up, but Kiyosaki encouraged her to see the obstacle as an opportunity. Together, they came up with a plan for Kim to rent out rooms in her house to tenants. This not only helped her keep her house but also provided her with additional income. Kiyosaki emphasizes that the key to overcoming obstacles is to have a strong why or purpose for why you want to achieve your goals. When faced with obstacles, it is this purpose that will motivate you to keep going. He also stresses the importance of having a support system and seeking advice from people who have been successful in your desired field. In conclusion, Kiyosaki encourages readers to see obstacles as opportunities and to use them to their advantage. By having a strong why, seeking advice from successful people, and building a support system, anyone can overcome obstacles and achieve success. Chapter 8. In Chapter 8 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, titled The 10 Investor Controls, Robert Kiyosaki introduces 10 crucial aspects that an investor should consider in order to build a successful investment portfolio. He emphasizes that the investor should always be in control of their investment decisions and should not rely solely on the advice of financial advisors or stockbrokers. The first control is to have a clear investment plan. This involves setting specific investment goals and determining the type of investments that align with those goals. The second control is to study and research thoroughly before investing in any asset. The third control is to focus on long-term investments rather than short-term gains. The fourth control is to diversify the investment portfolio to spread the risk across different asset classes. The fifth control is to have liquidity in investments, which means being able to access funds quickly in case of emergencies. The sixth control is to be disciplined and patient, avoiding the temptation to make impulsive investment decisions. The seventh control is to have emotional intelligence, which involves staying calm and avoiding emotional responses to market fluctuations. The eighth control is to be flexible and willing to adjust the investment strategy as needed. The ninth control is to have a clear understanding of taxes and how they affect investment decisions. The final control is to have a team of professionals, such as attorneys and accountants, who can provide valuable advice and guidance. Kiyosaki emphasizes that understanding these 10 controls can help investors build a strong investment portfolio that aligns with their goals and values. By taking control of their investment decisions and being disciplined and patient, investors can achieve financial independence and long-term success. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 of Rich Dad Poor Dad is titled The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. Kiyosaki begins by discussing how taxes are a significant expense for most people and how understanding the tax code is important in order to keep more of what one earns. He then goes on to explain the history of taxes, how they were used to finance wars, and how they eventually became a means of funding government programs. Kiyosaki explains the concept of corporations and how they can help reduce one's tax burden. He emphasizes that a corporation is not just for the wealthy and can be beneficial for anyone who wants to save money on taxes. He explains the advantages of incorporating, such as limited liability, the ability to raise capital, and the ability to deduct expenses. He also warns that incorporating can be risky and emphasizes the importance of getting professional advice before doing so. Finally, Kiyosaki discusses the importance of financial education and how it can help individuals make better decisions about their money. He encourages readers to learn as much as they can about taxes and corporations and to use that knowledge to their advantage. He concludes the chapter by stating that financial education is key to building wealth and that the more one learns, the more they can earn. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is titled The Perfect Business. In this chapter, the author, Robert Kiyosaki, discusses his belief that the perfect business is one that is based on a franchise model, and he shares his experience of working with Amway, a network marketing company. Kiyosaki explains that a franchise is a business system that has been proven to work, and that provides the franchisee with a support system, training, and marketing materials. He believes that the franchise model is ideal because it allows individuals to start their own business without having to create a new idea or product, and it also provides them with the support and training they need to succeed. Kiyosaki also discusses the benefits of network marketing, which he believes is a form of franchising. He explains that network marketing provides individuals with the opportunity to start a business with a low startup cost and to leverage the efforts of others to create a successful business. He also warns that not all network marketing companies are created equal, and that individuals should do their research and choose a company that has a proven track record of success. Overall, in this chapter, Kiyosaki encourages individuals to consider starting their own business through a franchise or network marketing model, and he provides insights on how to make this business successful. In conclusion, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a personal finance book written by Robert Kiyosaki. The book presents the author's ideas on how to achieve financial independence and how to manage one's money in a smart way. The book is divided into 10 chapters that cover various aspects of personal finance, including financial education, assets and liabilities, cash flow, and investing. The central theme of the book is the difference between the rich dad mindset and the poor dad mindset. Kiyosaki contrasts his own rich dad, who was his friend's father and a successful entrepreneur, with his own poor dad, who was a highly educated but financially insecure government employee. Through his experiences with both of these father figures, Kiyosaki learns important lessons about wealth and money management. One of the key takeaways from the book is the importance of financial education. Kiyosaki argues that traditional education systems do not prepare people for financial success, and that people need to take responsibility for their own financial education. He stresses the importance of understanding the difference between assets and liabilities and how to make money work for you through investments and cash flow management. Another important concept in the book is the idea of taking calculated risks. Kiyosaki emphasizes that successful entrepreneurs are not afraid to take risks, but they do so in a calculated way. He also stresses the importance of having a strong financial foundation before taking risks, as well as the need to continuously learn and adapt in order to succeed. Overall, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a compelling and accessible book that offers a fresh perspective on personal finance. Its emphasis on financial education and the importance of taking calculated risks has resonated with readers around the world, making it a classic in the personal finance genre. Thank you for listening. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel.